Hi, this is Mrs. Robertson. Today we're going to go over how to do Unit 1B Study Guide. This is Study Guide number 1. We're going to do another one tomorrow to make sure we're ready for the test and we know what the directions are wanting us to do. So let's begin. Plot the following points. First of all, make sure you have your first name written down and your last name. Today is September 10th, and this is in period 2 that we're making this recording. Yes. Yeah, put the S in there. Thank you. Okay, now let's go on and plot these points. -1 and 3/4. It is located between -1 and -2. It's going to be closer to the -2. Make sure your dot is closer to -2 or it will not be counted correct. Are there any questions? Okay. 4 and 1/6 is in between 4 and 5. Will it be closer to 5 or closer to 4? Closer to the 4. Put a dot close to the 4 with letter B. If your B is closer to the 5, fix it. Here's your paper. Letter C is really easy. A dot on the 0 with a C over it. D, 4/5 is located between a 0 and a 1. It's going to be closer to the 1. Put the letter D. -3. Put a dot on the -3 and you put an E above it. 3 and 2/3. In between 3 and 4, closer to the 4, put the letter F. G, -2/3. It's going to be between 1 and 0, closer, oh no, it's -2/3. It's going to be between 0 and -1, closer to the -1. Put a G. So we have A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Now, the opposite of 2.5, -2.5. So above -2.5, you're going to put H. The opposite of -1 is 1. So above the 1, you're going to put an I. Any questions on how to do that number line? Are your dots in the right spot? Close all Chromebooks now. No one should have a Chromebook open. You should be grading your paper. Close your Chromebook. Now, let's go on to number 2. Kids, that problem number 1 is worth 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 points. Now let's go to number 2. Each one of these is worth a point for plotting them correctly. Over 5, the first number tells you to go horizontally. The second number tells you to go vertically. Over to 5, up to 2. Put a dot and a letter A. If you don't put the letter A, you get your points counted off. B, you're going to go left to -1.5. -1.5 is halfway there. You're going to go up 3.5. It's +3.5. 1, 2, 3.5 puts it in the middle of that box. B, any questions? C, -2, -2. Put a dot there and a C. D, -4.5. It's in between -4 and -5, down 3. 1, 2, 3. It's on the middle of that line. You put D. Question. For which one? Letter B? The opposite of -1 is 1. And I put a dot above the 1, and I put an I above it. No, that's a -1. The opposite of a -1 is 1. I put a dot over the 1. That actually is the right answer. Now, let's go back and identify the quadrants these problems are in. Point one. Point B is in which quadrant? 2. Roman numeral 2. Point C is in which quadrant? 3. Roman numeral 3. Point D is in which quadrant? No, it's in 3. Okay, now we're going to answer the next one. Plot a point in the quadrant that is not already plotted and label it E. Which quadrant doesn't have any points in it? Quadrant 4, thank you. This is the quadrant that doesn't have any points on this worksheet. Okay, this one here has no points. So put a point anywhere that you want to. You might have it, I'm going to put it right here. And it's 8, -4. Okay? As long as your first number's positive and your second number's negative, it will be counted correct. Any questions? Now, on the test, it might not be quadrant 4. Okay, it could be one of the other quadrants. Just a little review. Quadrant 1, 2, 3, and 4. Any questions? Okay, now let's go on to the next section. True or false? If you wish to draw a number line to help you, feel free. And sometimes that is very helpful. Every rational number is a counting number. That is false. Oh, whoops, that's false, excuse me. Every rational number is not counting numbers. The counting numbers are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Rational numbers include negative numbers. It includes fractions. It includes decimals. Rational number includes all of those. So is every rational number a counting number? False. Is every counting number a rational number? Yes. Okay, but this one, the way it's stated, is false. A negative number is always less than a positive number. True. A negative number is always less. And just think about it. If you have a number line, 0, 1, 2, -1, -2, the negative numbers are always going to be smaller than a positive number. -4 is greater than -5. That is true. Why? If you put it on a number line, losing 4 yards is better than losing 5 yards in a football game, right? So 4 is greater than -5. Write a rational, there is a rational number between 1/4 and 3/4. That is true. 2/4. You could have 3/8. 3/8 would be between there. There could be a lot of different numbers there. And rational numbers, you could have a decimal. You could have 0.256 would be in between there. So there's an infinite number of numbers between those two fractions. Now let's go to the next page. Order these fractions from least to greatest. Well, I would first think about them on a number line. Okay, they're all in between 0 and 1. Okay. 1/5 is going to be closer to 0, right? So I would put 1/5 here. 4/3 is 1 and 1/3. It's going to be way over here. It's bigger than the 1. Okay, so we know that one and that one. What's another name for 6/12? Aaron? 1/2. It's going to be in the middle between 0 and 1. 6/12, which is 1/2. So now all we have left are 8/9 and 6/8. We have to get them in their spot. 8/9 is only 1/9 away from 9, so it's going to be closer. 6/8 is 2/8 away from the 1. So by putting them on a number line, I now have them in order, least to greatest. What was my smallest fraction on the number line? 1/5. Then I had 6/12. 6/8, 8/9, and 4/3. Now I'm going to stop to make sure I included all of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Question. I will tell you, it helps if you do. Okay? If you don't, you won't get it counted wrong. But if I see that you do this, you might get some points. If you make a silly mistake, I can give you partial credit. Okay? That's just one of the ways it's easy for me to give some partial credit if I see the graph there. Then we have the next problem. Stevie says that there are no numbers between 1/2 and 1/6. Why might he think that? And what would you tell him? Okay, kids, this is the answer that you would want to write down for that. And it is, well, let's see. He might think that because there are no whole numbers between, well, I don't know why he might think there are no numbers between 1/2 and 1/6, but you need to put, you can use equivalent fractions and find another fraction in between. You can use equivalent fractions to find numbers in between. In between 1/2 and 1/6. Okay, then let's find some fractions. If you have a number line, and here is 0, here is 1, we have 1/2 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Here is 1/6. Well, you can tell right away what's in between. If you change 1/2 to 3/6, it's the same thing. What's in between a 3/6 and a 1/6? Aaron, 2/6. And then you could even put an example. 2/6 is between 1/2 and 1/6. All right. Why might he think that, and what would you tell him? Well, you can tell him there are numbers between. Let's start off. There are numbers You could even use the word rational numbers. Between 1/2 and 1/6. So that is what your test is going to look like, kids. Make sure you understand how to put these in order from little to big. Make sure you can locate your points correctly on a number line. Coordinate graph. And know your rules about rational numbers, counting numbers, positive numbers, and how to place them on a number line. That is what's going to look like. That's what your test is going to look like on Thursday.